recording. All right, everyone, welcome to this training session. It's actually a training session for you. It's really a focus on career development. We're going to get started. And hello, Amadou Sow. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Leah. How are you doing?
So thank you for coming on this Thursday afternoon. So what we're going to be focusing on today is CV resume writing. We're going to, we did that, our greetings. We're going to look at the difference between CV and resume. We're going to look at format of a CV and resume, best practices for writing a resume and a CV, and then time for practice, because you will also start creating either a CV or a resume, and I will talk more about that at the end. Welcome to those who have just arrived, Shaka and Michelle. So quickly, for those who don't know me, I'm Leah Gabe. I'm an English as a second language instructor. I've been teaching ESL, EFL for 13 years. I was an English language fellow in Senegal from 2016 to 2017, and I am the virtual English language specialist for the West Africa region. So I've been working with many of you in trainings, and recently our TESOL, West Africa TESOL conference. So it's a pleasure to be with you. Some quick agreements: mute your microphone when you're not speaking, okay, to avoid the noise. Use the raise hand icon to ask a question. And hello, Gadba, good afternoon. Oops, sorry. Okay, so the raised hand icon. Be brief again. Well, we're kind of a small group, so but remember, other people want to talk, so 3 times rule. If you have spoken more than 3 times, wait your turn and let others speak. And please use the chat box to add any comments or questions. All right. So let's get started with a little poll survey. There isn't the thumb down reaction, but there is the thumb up sign here. So how many of you have written a resume or CV? You can use the thumb up sign in the reactions. Yes, so we have Kalifala has, Aisha has, Garba has, Musinato has, let's see, so it's Amadou, Julia, Pierre, Shaka. So okay, so quite a few of you have. Okay, so some people are familiar with this, and Biran has. Great. So let me ask you a question. What is a resume? What is a resume? You can write your answer in the chat, or you can raise your hand and ask. In just a moment, I'm going to omit. Josephine says summary. Yes, definitely, it is a summary. Yeah. Okay, just a moment. I see some hands are raised up. Galba writes, it is a summary of work experience and skills. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Shaka, do you have your hand up, or is it for the? Yep. Okay. Yes, so absolutely. So it's a summary, that's right. Oh, it's a short written, oh, sorry, Suleiman. Yeah, it's a short written description of your education, Yes, so yeah, I see some answers. A resume is a summary of your professionalism, a summary of your experience, your job, a short written description of your education, qualifications, work history, and sometimes also your personal interests that you send to an employer when you're applying for a job. And great answers in the chat. Yes, yes, that's right. Yes. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you. Yes, very good. Yes, absolutely. So all of you, many of you have the correct answer. So again, the key word is short, and a short written description, okay, to send to your employers. Great. Okay, so the next question is, what is a CV? Okay. Hi, Jakite. Good evening. Thought you wrote curriculum vitae. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, indeed. Just going to your copies, Fati. Yes, curriculum vitae. That's right. Yes. So CV, and so it comes from the Latin word for course. It means course of life. And it's a short account of one's career and qualifications. Yeah, yes. So it's a word for resume, prepared typically by an applicant for a position. So yes, so you can see there is it's very similar to so CV and resume are very similar. They have the same idea, but there are some differences. Yes, Julia, where we give details about our degrees and professional information, so on. Yes, and Mulshinatu wrote a CV is often longer. Aha, interesting. Yes, yes. All right. So yes, so definitely we're going to look at, so most of you understand now the idea of a resume CV is that really it's a document that shows your work experience, your educational background, your skills, all of that. So there are three differences, the CV versus the resume. And the first two are purpose and length, okay? So as Musinato pointed out, a CV, well, it should not be longer than 2 pages and includes more details on educational qualifications and life experiences. Okay, so it's definitely longer. A resume should be 1 page long and is a summary of professional work. Okay, so there is that difference, length and purpose. Okay. And then the third difference is a cultural difference. So countries have different expectations regarding the content and the style of a CV or resume. And in some places, so for example, in the US, the CVs are used more in academia. So if you're applying for an academic job, like a professor or at a university, you would use a CV. Whereas a resume is used more for business. So if you're applying to a company in the US, for example, or you would use a resume. And again, that depends. In Europe, it can also be different. So I have a question for you. From your perspective, how are resumes and CVs commonly used in your country? So are they used for, are CVs used for academia, or resumes used for business, or is there only one? And what do you normally include in a CV or a resume? So is there a difference in your country? Amadou wrote to apply for exchange programs. Okay. For the CV or the resume? Alright. And okay, so if you have, you're free to write in the chat or to answer or to raise your hand. Zamba wrote they're used to apply for a job. I thought it was the same. Okay, you thought it was the same until today. Could be. So again, it depends on the country. It depends. So for example, let's say in Mali, okay, Shaka wrote here in Mali, people usually use the CV rather than the resume. Okay, so in Mali, you use the CV. What about in Senegal? Okay, apply for a job is a CV, Julia said in Senegal. Oh, what about in, I want to hear Ivory Coast, the DRC, Cape Verde, Niger. Okay, CV, apply for a job. Okay, Cape Verde, you use the CV more. Okay. In Senate, okay. Okay, so it sounds like the CV is more common. It seems in most places. Interesting. And so question is, what do you, okay, you use a CV. And what do you normally include in a CV in your countries? And if I've missed any countries that are not, please let me know. If there are people from Guinea here or Benin or Togo, please tell me. Okay. Yes, Fatih, go ahead.
Yes, generally we include information, your personal information, like name, date, and place of birth. And then we have qualifications with different diplomas you got and your experience. And then you the skills and hobbies. And then at the end, you give the name of 2 persons they can contact.
Okay, yes. So thank you, Fatih. And so we have here, so a lot of people are agreeing with you. So they're talking about degrees, contact details, education, work experience, personal details, study, references. Yes, the references, all our academic achievements, trainings attended. Yes, skills concerning language and technology reuse. Yes. Is more used in Africa. Yes, that's true. CVs, okay. Credentials, educational background, job experiences, and skills. Okay, great. Very nice. So many of you have answered this. I'll share a little bit. Your schooling, absolutely. In Ivory Coast, we include personal information. Okay, so it seems like very similar format across in the different countries. Suleiman, yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I just want to mention that probably it's very important to mention also the languages you are able to speak.
Absolutely.
Specifically English today, nowadays.
Absolutely. So if you plan to teach abroad, and you speak many languages, that's very important to point that to include that. Yes. So definitely, here, as you've said, personal details and contact. In some countries, a photo is expected, a resume, headline, and summary of qualifications. So if you look at the example here, the picture, so you see here, there's the name, and then the title. So for example, if you executive assistant, so in your case, you could say a secondary school teacher, university professor, and then you have a summary, so a headline of what you do, what your current job is. So you have, for example, resourceful executive assistant with 5 years of experience, seeking to increase efficiency. So here you can say, seeking to apply for a teaching position in, I don't know, in Kenya and Ghana, South Africa, Malaysia. And then you give, again, a little bit of experience of information about your background. So, but very concise. Diakite wrote to complete Fatih's guideline to have personal information, study background, languages, experience. Yes. Now, this important thing is, it's important to know about this. This is called ATS. So keywords to get noticed by ATS. This is called the applicant tracking system. So this is a new system that companies are using more, and universities too, to select candidates. And so this system has really become more common in the digital age, because companies, universities are receiving many CVs, and they don't have time to read them all. So they use this system called the ATS to choose the candidates that they want, that they think are the right fit for the job. Fudia wrote the format also should be taken into account. Absolutely. So we'll look at ways to help you to get noticed by the ATS, because it is important, again, that you want to be noticed. If you plan in the future, maybe to study abroad or to teach abroad, you know that there's a lot of competition and you want the system to notice you. Okay. So let's look at here, the this section here, the freelance executive assistant. So what section is this?
Experience.
That's right. Yes, Musinato. It is the work experience. Yes. And how did you know that? How did you know it was the work experience section?
I think we have
Work
verbs
it
like,
as
sorry.
experience assistant for, okay.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry.
Pierre. Yeah, can we let sorry, Musinato, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think the verbs can help identify like worked, assisted, and performed. These are action verbs used in the work experience.
Correct. Thank you. Yes, so the verbs and the actions. Thank you. Pierre, go ahead. Sorry.
So this is what I wanted to say about, he worked as temp executive assistant, okay, and etc. And you have assisted with projects. So these verbs are related to experience.
Absolutely. Yes. So here the person is detailing the achievements and responsibilities. Okay. So we'll look in more detail about that in a moment, but this is just to give you an idea of how of that. Yes, Suleiman.
Yeah, I just want to focus on experience because most of the time I understand companies tend to recruit people who have got experience than somebody who has no experience. Because if you recruit somebody who has no experience, probably you're gonna invest money to train him. So that's gonna be probably in the mind of some recruiter a waste of money. And most of the companies are business-like.
That's a good point. That's a good point that it really, yes, probably they will. Companies do prefer if you have some degree of experience, but there is always a way for you in your resume to show that, even if it's not work paid, if you've done volunteer, if you've been an intern, so stagiaire, that can also be, you can include that to show that you have that. Michelle wrote details including under the position. Yes. Okay, so this part, of course, as we know, is the education, right? So write names of institutions and dates attended in reverse order. Okay, so again, your highest degree, put that first. And then, so here, for example, this person put BA, so bachelor's degree. Tijan wrote, you're right, the verb worked in action show that the content is about work experience. Yes. So here, You have, and then the specialty that what you specialized in, and the name of the university and the dates. Okay. Here we have skills. And so let me ask you, what do you put in skills? What would you include in the skills section? Computer skills, yes. Computing, yes. Language skills, yeah, definitely. Mushinatu, yes.
I think like the skills like engagement, ability to communicate and teamwork, all the skills can be added there.
Mhm. Of course, yes. Communication skills, yes.
We can also say work in team. Okay, be able to work in team.
Yeah, teamwork. Yes,
Yeah.
teamwork, definitely. I'm gonna do the reverse dates for education, your educational background. So you can put, so this is true for, you can, so you have also honors and awards. Skills, so definitely computer skills, foreign language skills. So of course, if you speak, you know, if you're staying within West Africa, definitely listing all, you know, Wolof, Pulaar, Bambara, English, French. You know, if you're abroad, maybe those languages are important, but maybe listing the more, you know, like maybe French or English. Include interests that are relevant to the job to which you're applying. So if you see here an example, you have here communication. This person put that logistics, time management, emails. It depends. So if this person is planning to do administration, working in administration, then they would include this. So again, it depends on what you want to, what job you're applying for. Okay. So we looked at the things to include. Let's think about the things we don't include. Let me ask you, what do you think you shouldn't include in the CV? And I want to hear from people I haven't heard from yet. Personal information, okay. Can you be more specific about that? What exactly in your personal information? Number of children, yes. Number of children, yes. That's definitely, yeah, don't include that. Likes and dislikes, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I would say, so definitely age, yes, that's right. Good. Okay, yes, so your age. I know in some places you can put it, but not, yes, Josephine, the salary, that's right. So again, too much information. You do not have to list every training that you did. Okay, so I know many of you have done many professional development trainings. Only list the trainings that are relevant to the job. You don't have to list every single job that you've done. Sorry, can I, yeah, so spelling mistakes and grammatical errors, please be careful with that. You know, it is important, it's a document that reflects you, so make sure to write it, that it's as perfect as it can be. Passive voice, okay, so avoid that. Don't write the class was taught by, or training was given by. You want active voice. Taught level grade 6, led training, You want the active voice, not the passive, okay? Salary requirements. So unless it's stated in the job description, do not put how much you want in your salary. Yes, your status, your marriage status, your marital status, you do not need to write that. You do not need to write that you're married or single or divorced. That's not necessary. Any questions? Oh, sorry. So, yes, Aliu. You're muted.
I think salary requirement is not all of it, you know. The salary requirement is not all of it.
Correct. So
Because, yeah.
salary,
Yeah.
right. So salary requirement, you
Right.
do not usually, write that only if it is in the job description. If the job description asks you to put your salary range, then you can put it. Yes. Amadou, what do you mean by reverse dates?
Yes, I think it's in the education, I think. I read somewhere reverse dates, but I lost some seconds because of problems of network, and I didn't understand that. You said it a little bit earlier.
Okay, no problem. So yes, then Mushinatu wrote it, is that you start from your most recent qualifications. So if you have a master's, if your highest degree is your master, start with that. Then your BA, your master, then your bachelor's, or your master, your licence. That's how you reverse it. Yes, no problem. Somebody else wrote a question. Oh, Hadisa, so you missed the beginning when we talked about CV and resume. So again, I talked about how there's a difference in culture, purpose, and length. So that happened. Yeah, you meant we shouldn't. That's right. So usually, Dekite, you don't typically include your marital status. Definitely not in the US, in Canada. In some countries you may. No problem, Hadisa. There's the recording. You'll be able to, you'll be able to go back and watch it. So in certain countries, it's okay. But in others, it's not. And do you include hobbies? It depends. So if the interest, only if it's relevant to the job. Samba, yes. What's your question?
Thank you very much. I don't have question, just contribution about what we should avoid while, writing a CV. And we forgot to talk about something very interesting, which means including, skills that we haven't mastered. For example, putting their driving license so that I'm not good at driving, you see. Yeah, it's
That's
something that we need to avoid.
That's right. So if the job description doesn't ask you for your driver's license, don't write it. If they do, if for example, you're applying for a job as a driver, then yes, you do, a truck driver or a chauffeur, then definitely yes, put your driver's license. Josephine, yes, what's your question?
Yes, I would like to know, because we are working for a salary, so why can't you find a place to put it in the CV so that they can know that we need a amount of something like that? So why can't you find a place to put it? And because we are giving that CV so that we can have money. So we want to have a place where to put the salary also.
That's a great question, Josephine. And that is something that people are asking themselves. Why can't we ask for a salary requirement? I think that's a great point. And employers are starting to change. They're starting to put how much, please list your salary requirements. So hopefully in the next few years that will change. But for now, if it's not in the job description, don't include it. And Shaka wrote, I think salary arc during the job interview. Yes, that can happen. Add the salary when it's, yes. So it will depend. If the employer asks you, what is your salary range? You can say, you can also say open to negotiation. That also works. All right, here, open to negotiation. Okay, so you've asked from some great questions about the differences in and so I'm going to show you an example of expectations in different countries. So for example, if you're thinking of applying for a teaching job or a study abroad program in Europe, they usually prefer the CV. And it's 2 or 3 pages. Photo of on a resume. So this here they do want a photo. The style Europass. I will show you I will send you a document with the link to the Europass CV. So you create your own CV and cover letter. They have a template for that. You do include personal details like your marital status, maybe your age. Personal info and contact details. So what comes first, and then also they ask for educational background is included. So that's for Europe. And you see, if you're thinking of applying to places like Singapore or China, Japan, so you see that there's a whole list. Unfortunately, I don't have expectations from other places like South Africa or Kenya, or but that's something you can research as well. Califala wrote, most of the time companies ask applicants to make a salary proposal in the cover letter. Yes, that's right. They can do that. So that's something to think about when you're applying. When you're applying, is to think of what the expectation is. What do they want to see? What do companies or universities want to see when you apply for a job? Let me see. So I'm going to share my screen because I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the Europass. Just a moment. Let me stop share for a second. And I'm going to show you the Europass link, if I can get it, because that way you can see what it looks like, and then you can, if you're thinking of applying in Europe, you can use it. Okay, so I'm going to share again my screen. So right here, so this is the Europass website. So again, don't worry, I'm going to send all the information to you so you have it, but you can have here, you can create a CV, you can create a cover letter, it's free, and you can use that when you apply for a job in Europe. Okay. So, let's go. So we looked at kind of the different parts of the CV and the resume, and we're going to look a little more in detail at specifically when you're describing your work experience. Actually, before we do that, sorry, do you notice any differences or similarities with the way the CV, with the format of the CV in your country versus in, for example, European countries? Let me write that question. Do you notice, sorry. Do you notice any differences and similarities with the CV format in European countries versus in your country? Oh. Yeah, and so can you tell me what is the difference? What kind of difference you notice? Jackie, can you say more? And, Giona, did you want to answer?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Yes. Yeah. Then I was saying that there is a great difference. Yeah, from what you presented right now.
Yes. Okay. What difference do you notice?
Right now.
Mhm.
And what we're dealing with in our country.
Great.
For all this, we were putting the age, we were putting the family status, and we also put nationality.
Oh, nationality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear you talking about this. I don't know if you also mentioned that at your level.
Yeah, no, that's correct. Yes, so you add nationality. Interesting. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Celita wrote, in Cape Verde, we use the European style. Okay, great. Okay, and Fatih, go ahead.
Okay. So the difference I can notice is that for European ones, they start from the first diploma, for example, up to the last. And for American and British, they start from the latest diploma up to the first. That's the difference that I noticed. Yeah.
Okay, okay, interesting. All right,
Yeah,
so we see
that's what I
some
noticed.
differences. Well, this is useful for you, just again, to think about when you're applying to a job out abroad, how you want to format that. Ben Hajj, yes. You have your hand up. Or Musa, sorry, Musa.
Yes. Hello. Yes, how are you?
Good, good, welcome.
Thank you very much. I can wait, but what I can catch up is here in our country is basically the page.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was a little difficult. Could you repeat that?
Yes. I said
But Musa, it's hard to hear you. Could you type? Can you type your answer in the chat? Because it's a little hard to hear you. Thank you so much. Oh, the address. Yes, the address, you can put the address. Yes. Okay, so we want to look at, oops, sorry, we want to look at the stylistic convention. And I want to go back to let's look at the way that it's written. So going back here, if you look at the how it's written, the work experience, what do you notice? So some of you have talked about the verbs. What tense is used here, or yes, what tense is typically used here? Can I ask the person to mute themselves? There's a bit of noise in the background. Gione, can you please mute yourself? Okay, go ahead. So what tense? Yes, so Aisha wrote simple past. Okay, Great. Yes, and okay, yes, Julia, go ahead. You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I just want to have a question about the hobbies. Example, if you want to deal with our hobbies, where do we put it or not? Because here in Senegal, when we write a CV, we put the hobby, and also we talk about our personal interest.
Yes, so you can, so I would put hobbies under interest. So again, if it's relevant to the job, okay?
Okay.
So if, for example, if you are, if your interests are volunteering, your interests are, you definitely put that. If it's in teaching or interest in, I don't know, art, something that's relevant again to the job.
And what about our natural aptitude ability?
Yeah, so that's
we learn. Yeah,
skills. You put that in skills. I'll show you an example in a moment. Yes, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so saying yes, but how in my country the number of pages mostly limited to 1 page. Okay. Your name and 5, could you, okay, yeah. But some administration limited it to no more than 2 pages. Okay, yeah. So definitely, here we have simple past. And do you notice, I'm gonna mute people, it's too loud. Okay, so do you notice any personal pronouns here? No, that's right. So there are no, there's no I, okay? So we don't use the I, typically we don't use the I, and you'll see that in many CVs that they don't typically do that, right? Just action verbs, yes. So when you use past tense when talking about jobs in the past, and present tense when describing the work you're currently doing. So for example, taught a an oral communications class, and then right now you can, and then for currently you can write develops curriculum for the school. Avoid using pronouns like I or my, okay? Use active voice. So again, don't say led by. You want to show that you're active, you're proactive. And bullet points, very important. So I have a question for you. And yes, Tidiane, you hope the number of pages, yes, it does depend on the country, and that's something you can research. I have a question for all of you. How many, so I'm talking about the US, typically the US and I think also in Europe, what is the average time that an employer reads a CV? What is the average time, and you're right here, what is the average time that an employer reads a CV? What do you think it is? So they're receiving many CVs. And what do you think? Okay, 2 to 3 minutes. Galba wrote that. Pierre wrote 5 to 10 minutes. Any other guesses? Not too much. 5. Okay. 6 seconds. So when they were, yeah, so when they receive all the CVs, they're going to go, okay, okay, this person, no. Yes, they just glance. That's right. So they scan 6 seconds and they say, okay, this one, no, this one, yes. Okay, I'll read it more. So it's really very, very, very quick. They don't spend a lot of time, as you can see, reading the CV. So that's something to really think about when you're, good question, Amadou. So there's the tracking system. And then once the tracking system says, okay, this person is, you know, we think it's a good fit, then they send it to the employer, and then the employer looks at it and very quickly reads over. So it goes through a process. So, so I'm going to show you 2 examples of CVs. Again, they don't have to be, you don't have to follow the exact format, but it's to give you an idea of what it can look like. So here we have, again, this is, I know this is a US type because it's the one I'm more familiar with, but it's something that you can look at if, you know, there are more examples that you can look at online. So you see here at the top, so the person again has the summary right here at the top. So they say what they've done, their experience. The contact information is right here. Skills. So this is where you can write your skills. Okay. Languages here. You could also put here your interests. So this is where you can put your interests. And then again, the experience. So this person put the experience first because they have experience in this field, and so they listed what they've done. And again, you put here the dates, the most recent job that you have. And then this again, so this is the last job that they have. And then that's followed by the education. Membership is not necessarily that you could use, that would be more common in an academic CV. So if you wanted to say, you know, I'm a member of Africa Alta, or I'm a member, or TESOL association, that you would put. Courses, again, only if it's relevant. You know, here you could put also training and any trainings you've done, professional development that's relevant to the job. And then publications, if you have published some articles, given presentations, definitely put that there. Okay, so that is very important. I'll show you in another example so you can see. And again, don't worry, I will send all of these documents so you can look at them on your own. Oh, oops. Just a moment. Okay, so here this person summarize, they summarize their skills. Here they used the I. It's again, it's not very common to use it, so but they talk about their background, skilled, they worked in multiple startups, they have experience with developing e-learning, highly organized, skilled at using scenario-based learning. Here they write their skills, their skills, curriculum development, curriculum design, languages, certification. So if you have any certificates that you've done, again, only if it's relevant. Don't list all the certificates that you have. And then here, experience. So here, this person, so this is starting to be common too, is to write a one sentence that summarizes what you do. So this person wrote instructional designer working under vice president of learning and development to create company-wide curriculum for a fast-growing healthcare startup. So this person just wrote one sentence, just summarizing what they do, and then below the responsibility. So again, that's something that you can do as well, and then and practice. Any questions? Any questions that that you have about these examples or the format?
Leah?
Yes, go ahead, Julia.
So my question won't be regarding to this, but to the tense you used a while ago. You said that we use the past to talk about our past experience, and we use the present simple to talk about our present experience. Only.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, don't use present perfect.
Present progressive, no.
Yes, so present, I mean, some people do use present, present progressive, but it's more common to use simple present and simple past. Yes, great question. Okay, so Fatima, is it common in the US to send a CV and resume together? No. So when it depends. So look at in the job description, look at what they want. If they say resume, send the resume. If they write CV, send a CV. So just see at the bottom. They will usually say send a CV or send a resume. Yes, Diakite, I will send everything, all the documents, everything I will send. So don't worry. You will have all of it. Tijan, why did they use I? So yeah, so it's not very common in a summary to use I. Some people do, but I would say don't use it. It's still very common to not use I. So to just use the verb. So as you can see here, partnered, built, communicated. So no pronoun. Janet, yes. What's your question?
Yeah. Amalia, nice meeting you again.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
I said nice meeting you again.
Oh, it's nice to see you again too.
My question is, can you add height when you are writing the CV? Is it necessary you add height to it?
No, I mean it's not. It's more common to not use I. It's more common. It's more common to use it without the pronoun. Yes.
Thank you.
Josephine, what's your question?
Thank you once more for the floor. I would like to know this. If I want to apply to a job of USA people and they are working in our country, which style can I use?
So ask them. Ask what would you is this for an NGO and a non-profit organization?
No, I want just to know. I want to know only.
I would say if it's US, more common resume. It's more common in the US to ask for a resume than a CV. CV is really only for academic. And somebody wrote, okay, yes, so I did talk about the difference between a CV and a resume, Takite. So if you missed it, you can listen to the recording when we're done, and I explain the difference. Okay, let's go back. So we've talked about this. So let's look at now let's look at some tips, because that's the most important part, is how to get noticed when you're writing a CV and or a resume. And so my question is to you, what tips or what advice can you share to write a successful resume or CV? Is it common to use the third person in a resume? Yes, it is. Well, so actually it's not the third person, but it's actually the first person, but without the pronoun. So it's actually, yeah, it's more common to use first person singular. Fatih, yes.
Okay, asking about tips, I will say to ask someone who has already written a resume or a CV.
Absolutely.
So that you can have an idea about it, how to write it, and really ask for advice.
Absolutely, yes. So the idea is really to ask for advice from your peers and to look at an example.
Yes.
Thank you. Pierre says give clear information. Yes, be concise. Julia, go ahead.
Okay, so if I was supposed to write a CV or resume now, since I know how to write it, I think I will use a draft first to jot down the information, to gather all the information I need, so that once I start working, I will get all the information in hand.
Correct. So really having that information and structured and understanding what is expected. Dekite, so again, for the CV, it depends on the country. If you're talking about Europe, 2 to 3, and if it's in the US, it's about the same, 2 to 3 pages. Pierre, go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, I think that it is also important to reach the employer needs. Okay, to know what he wants, and if your background can go with what he wants, it will be very good. So you need to know what the employee wants.
Exactly. So making sure that you know what exactly. Very good. Fatih, I know you have your hand up. Let's ask somebody else. Mushinatu. Oh, you're muted. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to add a contribution to what Hujja has just said about using a draft. I think we should not wait till we are asked to write a resume to do it. I think it is helpful to have like a file where you jot down all those things related to you, like your personal info, your qualifications and experiences. And then after some months, you come back and update it. And whenever you are asked to submit a resume, that is helpful. You just copy and paste. And as you said, Leah, they take just 6 seconds to read the resume. It is really helpful also to have a very good and catchy format. So I think when your format is quite catchy and good looking, they will add like some 1 second or 2 seconds to see, wow, this is really something I'm gonna read. So I think that those also can be helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. So making sure that you're absolutely the format, you want it to be interesting to the employer. They say, oh, that looks nice. Okay, so finding something that will help them notice you more. Absolutely. Michelle wrote, in a case of call for application, read the required skills and adapt your application recording, you're matching your experience. Absolutely. Always update your CV or resume. Yes. And as Mushinati was saying, update, update, update. Don't wait for the last minute. Okay. Your CV is like a work in progress. You always need to improve it. Okay. So that's something to remember. Garba wrote, avoid sending the same resume. Yes, exactly. Because again, you want to show you're interested in this company or this university. You're not just sending it to everyone. Absolutely. Janet, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. My question is, if you want, do you have to add references? Now, if
Yes.
you're adding the references, do you have to contact the person that I would like you to be my reference? Do you have to do that?
Absolutely. Yes. I would recommend that you let the person you want as a reference know that they're a reference. Yes, please do that, because you don't want them to be surprised that an employer contacts them. So yes, please do let them know. Okay, Josephine, I know you have your hand up. To make sure we're on time, what you can do is type your question and I'll answer it. The layout is likely to, yes, absolutely. So just so we can move on. Yes, so definitely customize as much as possible by using keywords from the job description and highlighting relevant experience and skills. So the idea is that you really have to read the job description, read it carefully, look at the keywords. What are words that are repeated? What are words that are important? And use those words and include them in your CV. Belhaj, to write a successful CV, it better to read how yes, exactly. Look at people who were successful and ask them what they did. Absolutely, that's a great piece of advice. And do we need to put the webinars and sessions you attend online if there are too many? Yes, so again, only the ones that are relevant to the job, only the ones, because again, you want it to be short and to the point. Yes. So one way to do that is I'm going to show you an example, a website that I've used that's very useful. It's called jobscan.com, and it helps you. What it does is it takes your resume and a job description that you found, and it checks to see if your resume matches the job description. And so then it gives you a percentage. How close is your resume or your CV to this job description? Okay, and then it tells you what you're missing. And so I'm going to give you I'm going to show you an example of that. Just a moment. JobScan, thank you. Yes, JobScan, it's jobscan.co, not com. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little confusing. Just one moment. Let me share my screen. Oops, sorry, it's right here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the website. So again, jobscan.co, not com. So it's free for a certain amount. And so what you do is you have here, you go to the bottom and you have here, upload your resume to get started. So I used an example resume, where's it? The teacher resume. Oh, whoops, sorry. This is not. So let's say I go here. So I have a teacher resume, okay? So it's going to analyze it. Okay, and then I want to paste the job description that I found. So let's say, okay, I want to apply for a job, elementary school teacher. Okay. Okay, so this is the example of the job description. Okay, so it says we're looking to hire a dedicated elementary school teacher. Okay, so this is what I want. Okay, let me look at the responsibilities. Meeting with students and parents to discuss education-related issues and attending staff meetings. Okay, if they want that, then I have to, in my resume, I have to find a way to include something like this. Advancing positive interpersonal relationships with coworkers and students. Collaboration, teamwork. Okay. Communicating proficiently with students. Implementing curriculum, preparing for assigned classes and providing lessons. Okay. So I need to make sure in my resume or in my CV that I talk about this. Okay. So then this is the qualifications. I need to have a bachelor's degree. I also, in my skills, I need to have a valid driver's license. I need to be proficient in computer skills. I need to have excellent communication skills. So all of that I need to include to make sure I include that in my CV. So let's see what the CV that I copied, let's see how close it matches to the job. Okay, so it's scanning. And let me look at the results. Okay, so it's, okay. Oh, okay, so 29%. That's pretty low. Okay, so my resume, my teacher's resume is pretty low. It doesn't match the job description. So here it says, okay, this is a kind of an ATS system. So the ATS thinks, okay, I don't have a lot. Out of 7 parts, I don't have much. Recruiter finding, okay, skills match. So all of these parts here are missing. Okay, so I need to change this to make sure that my resume matches that. So I need to add the company name. I need to include important high value skills. I need to talk about elementary school. Okay, my job education matches, my data. So all of this is helpful to me to see, okay, this is what is missing and this is what I need to include. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. So it helped me so much. And so I really encourage you to use it because that way you will have a greater chance of getting noticed. Okay. So look at all of this, a lot of X's. Okay. That means that my resume is not strong enough. I need to really follow the job description. Okay. Yes, it is. It is. I agree. So that's something that I really encourage you to use when you're looking at a job, to use that website to help you. Okay. Another thing, there are 2 more things I want to suggest. The other one is use action verbs. So I'm gonna to make the resume CV more readable. Okay, for your hiring managers, the recruiters. So recruiter is another person. I don't know if you're familiar, but recruiter is someone who is hired by a company to find people to hire. Okay, so they can also you can also have contact with them. Start each bullet point with an action verb and replace the generic verbs like managed or led with verbs like mentored or accelerated. Okay, so that, you know, if they see manage, led, taught, then they just think, oh, you know, come on, a little more. So, yes, you can definitely use LinkedIn.com. Yes, I was going to mention that. So another thing I'm going to share with you is a list of action verbs, exciting action verbs that you can use to make your CV a little more interesting. Okay, so these are what they call fresh action verbs. So if you're, for example, if you're looking at, so here, this is maybe not so relevant for teaching, but, you know, for general, so, you know, for example, published, okay, proofread, programmed, coached, educated, fostered, guided, trained, okay, taught, okay, but don't write taught, taught. Try to vary. So this is a list of verbs you can use to make it more, to make your CV a little more, or in your work experience, to make it more interesting. Collaborate, cooperate, they love that, all of that. And goal achievement as well, accomplished, achieved, advanced, all of that, that's useful. Okay. All right. And the last piece of advice, which is probably when you're writing a, in your work experience, when you're writing your responsibility, is what we call the STAR method. This is something that's used in interviews, but it can also be included in your CV. And it stands for situation, state a situation, task, present a specific task, action, mention what you did to achieve this, and then result. Present results of the action where possible. So the idea is that what employers want to see is that what you did had an impact. Okay, so when you say, oh, I taught oral communication skills, give more detail. Taught a class of, taught 30 students or 60 students oral communication skills, which resulted in their improvement in oral and speaking skills. So you want to show, you want to use numbers, evidence to show that what you did had an impact. And I'm going to give you an example of that. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. So if we look here at the bottom, here's an example of a someone's so it's their work experience, right? So they're giving a list of their responsibilities. So here they have conceptualize. Conceptualize is another word for created. And spearheaded. Spearheaded means led. So created and led, or start a new blog initiative that united engineers, designers, and writers, generating creating over 3 million sessions and introducing over 1 million unique users to the website. So this is the STAR method. So I want us to look at, there's three in this here, the parts that are highlighted. So we have here task, action, and result. So if we look at here, this part, the yellow part, conceptualized, so created and led a new blog initiative. What is that? Is that a task? Is that am I describing a task? Am I describing an action, or am I describing a result here?
Is a task.
Janet, yes, hello? Oh. Yeah.
task.
Task. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I see action and task. Look like it's a there's a mix of it. Task and interesting. Well, let's look at here. If we look at, okay, so I see there's a mix of task and action. Let's look at here. United engineers, that united engineers and designers and Julia wrote action, okay, and writers. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I think this would be an action.
Well, what is the goal here? What is the goal really for this? So that let's imagine this person wants to do a blog, and so here. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Califada.
Yeah, Leah, I just want to have a contribution about the word task and action.
Yes.
So if you ask me, I will say that for the task, I will focus more on responsibility as things you used to do. But this is very different from action that you are performing right now. So there is a little difference between the two words. So if we say task, this can be considered as a specific responsibility or a different situation you are supposed to do.
Right.
But action is what you are performing right now.
Correct. Correct. Yes. And so this is more, okay, conceptualized and spearheaded. So that is more the action, because my task is to bring together the engineers, the designers, and the writers. I want to bring them together. Okay. So this is more my action. What I did, this is what I did to get this to happen. And then this is the result. Okay, so I did this to get this, and this is the result. And so when you are writing your CV, that's something you think about. Taught 30 students or 60 students or 80 students oral communication skills to develop their speaking, their fluency, resulting in improvements in their exams, in their ability to get a job, in graduating. So things like that. You want to think of it as, I want to show the result of what I did. I want to show evidence. So again, I'll write here, I'll write here the example. Taught a class of 80 students. So again, it's important to put how many students. Many of you have 100, 150 students in your classes. That's amazing. When employers see that, they think, oh, if they can teach such a big class, then that means they're flexible. They can manage. Taught a class of 80 students oral communication skills to develop their oral fluency, resulting in improvements in their grades or in passing final exam and successfully passing final exams. Yes, it is tricky. It is tricky. It's not easy, but it's becoming more common to use the STAR method now. when you write a CV. Any questions, any comments about that? Okay, if not, what we're gonna do, so I've given you a lot of content, I know. Your brains are like, woo, but now the part is to apply what you've learned. And we're gonna do two things. Let me just go back here. So again, don't worry, everything, I will send everything, you'll have it all. So yeah. So we're gonna do a little practice activity. I'm going to show you, I will show you a resume for 15 seconds. Okay, so let's imagine you are the employers, okay? And I want you to see, what did you notice in those, what did you notice and what keywords did you notice? So again, all of you are now employers. I'm going to show you a resume. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you it will be a CV, sorry, a CV. And in the chat, please write what you notice, what keywords you notice, okay? So that will give you an idea of that experience, what it's like to look at a CV very quickly, okay? So just give me one moment while I look for the, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. And then I'm going to share my screen once more. Okay. And oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so 15 seconds again. I'm going to show it to you. And okay, and stop. All right. What did you see in those 15 seconds?
Yeah, we didn't see anything.
Use of pronouns, my, honors. Ah, okay. It is too quick. I know. Languages, education, first pronoun, okay. Profile, awards, Portuguese. Going in details. Started with personal awards. Interesting. So a lot of you noticed the awards. Language spoken. Interesting. What did you think of the format? Contact details. Okay, so very interesting. So a lot of you focused on the awards, the languages, the skills, European style. Yeah. European style. No, sorry. So yeah. So as you can see, in 15 seconds, you see that there's certain things you have to make the employer notice, right? It's a standard one, yeah. So with that in mind, what we're going to be doing is you're going to practice, you're going to start working on your own. I know many of you already have a CV or you have a resume or something similar. And so, but this is a way for you to work on it, to improve it in case in the future you want to apply to teach abroad or study abroad. So here's the next part that you're going to do. So decide which document type you want to write, CV or resume. Think of current and past work experiences and write a list of tasks that you did. Use bullet points. You're going to share in a group what you're going to write about. Okay, so I'm going to put you to breakout rooms. So you'll have a chance to think about what you want to, so you're only going to focus on work experience, okay? Only work experience, and list the tasks that you have current and past that you did, okay? And use bullet points, okay? And then you'll share in your group, and I'll give you 15 minutes. All right. Any questions before I put you into breakout rooms? Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay. Thank you, Bihan. Yes. Yes, very good. Ooh, good eye. All right, so I'm going to give you 15 minutes again, and I'm going to, oops, sorry. I'm going to copy and paste the instructions in here. There we go. And I'll put you into breakout rooms in one moment for 15 minutes. 6 breakout rooms. Okay. Put 15 minutes. And here we go. Resume. Yeah, so length, purpose, and culture for the key differences. Because employers only take 6 seconds on average to read a CV or resume, it is important to highlight key skills and experiences and use an easy to read layout. Okay. Follow the STAR method when writing your work experience and customize your CV resume for greater chance to be noticed by an ATS. Okay, so so now that you know how they do it in the digital age, this can help you. And finally, use active verbs and positive adjectives that closely match the job description. Okay, so as we end the training, I have a few knowledge check questions. So a little quiz just to see. So in the chat, okay, sorry, there's noise in the background. Let me mute. Thank you. True or false? You should only use one type of resume or template, resume or CV when you apply to companies all over the world. Write true or false. T for true or F for false in the chat box. Correct. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Do not use one, okay? You have to customize. Very good. Done. Okay, next question. Yes, great. Is this an example of a strong action verb? Led a team of designers, engineers, and writers as part of the project. So just write yes or no. Is this an example of a strong action verb? Yes. Interesting. I like the music in the background, but I'm just going to mute you. So the answer is it could be stronger. It could be stronger. A better word would be a better word, sorry, would be, for example, mentored, or was it, yes, mentored, or maybe where we started resume. In a moment, I'll explain. Yes, so a mentored more, or was in charge of, maybe. So something a little bit stronger rather than led. Okay, and last question. Take charge. Yeah, you could say take charge of. What is one tip for writing a successful CV or resume? Now that you've learned what, write your answer in the chat box. Oh yes, monitor. Thank you. Oh yeah, monitor is the good one. Yes. Drafting, yes. The STAR method, yes. You'll definitely work on that. STAR, yes. Ask for some advice from someone who has experience. Yes, Fatih, pay attention to what is relevant. Yes, Aisha, well done. Yes, great. Use the STAR tips. Reading the job description. Well done. Shahna. Yes, precision. Yes, Suleiman. Have a look at a good, successful one first. Absolutely. Yes, be patient by using STAR tips. Yes, it takes practice. It takes practice. Do not include all information you're focused on job requirement. Use action verbs, use of bullet points. Yes, Hadith. Yes, yes, fantastic. Well, this is great. So it's great that you've learned a lot in this training. Avoid using I, yes. So that do not use the same more than once. Yes, absolutely. So with that, with all of that information, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have a second session, but this time it's going to be a workshop. Yes, customized. Thank you, Michelle. And this is a chance for you to get feedback on your CV or resume. So research a job that you would like to apply to. Okay, copy and save the job description. Write or type your work experience and use bullet points. So the focus is only on your work experience, okay? Customize your resume CV to the job description. Please bring your draft. So please, and your job description to the next training session. You will receive feedback from a peer. Okay. So again, the idea is that on Thursday, November 25th, at the same time, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. UTC, that's 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Watt. You will have a chance to get feedback on a draft on your work experience. So the bullet points that you've created for either a CV or a resume. Any questions that you have about this?
Lee, can I ask?
Yes, Salita, go ahead.
Yes, just to make sure that I will do it correctly.
I love that. Yes, please.
So when I'm talking about my work experience, I will begin with my current job. And with that, I will use the action verb in the simple present, right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct.
Thank you.
Great. I love that you checked. Yes. Josephine, go ahead.
Thank you for the floor, Leah. I'm very happy with your presentation. Is very good. Congratulations. But we need some note on it, if possible.
Yes, I will send everything. Don't worry. I will send I will send the PowerPoint. I will send all the documents. So don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Suleiman. Thank you for your kind words, Tijan and Hadisa. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Suleiman, you have your hand up? You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, Suleiman, maybe I'll come back to you. Tijan, go ahead.
Okay, really, Leah, it was fantastic. It was a tasteful meal, I can say. I did learn, and I hope so that my fellow also they did learn. Wallahi, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm so glad it was helpful to you, and really, I hope you can use this. And again, you'll have a chance to practice what you've learned, and it's a process. Yes.
Yeah, inshallah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your kind words, everyone in the chat. Salita, yes, you had another question?
Yes, it's just the work experience we are going to write.
Correct. Just the work experience, because that's the most important part of the CV and resume. That's where people have the most difficulties finding a way to get noticed. So that's really what you want to work on, the work experience. Everything else is easier, but the work experience is the part that you really need to work on.
Do we have to adapt to make it in any of the styled mentioned?
I'm sorry?
Do we have to use any of the styled mentioned here, or just use bullet points?
Yes, please use bullet points. So I will send all the information, all the documents. I will send you an example of a resume. I will send you actually 2 examples, so you will see what it looks like. And I will send everything. So that way you will see examples, and that will help you. Yes. Yes, Josephine, you had another question, and Tijan, yeah.
That's all.
Go ahead,
I would like to know if.
Go ahead, Josephine. Yeah.
I would like to know if there will be a certificate for these sessions.
Yes.
Apart
yes,
from that,
yes.
I would like also to know if you will plan other conference or workshop after the 25th.
Yes, I will have other. Another one is planned on the using drama for oral for speaking. That will be as well. I will, and then another one later for technology. I'll let you know. Yes, yes. So,
that would be okay.
so yeah, don't worry. You will get a certificate, but after you've completed the second session, I'll send a certificate. Tijan, yes, and then we'll end here.
So thank you so much. So if somebody want to present now something about English clubs, because I really noticed that English club activities are very, very important for our students. I don't know how to try to present or what are the ways to, really.
Right. Well, that's a great question. You can ask that in the WhatsApp group. So that's something, if you want to present on this, you can definitely do that if you have people who are interested and they can work together. I think you can definitely do that. Absolutely. Please. This is also your the WhatsApp group is your group. So please use it as you need.
Yeah, inshallah. I will try to find a co-presenter, inshallah, and then you will try to submit it.
I'm sure you'll find one. In fact, I know I recommend one. Aliyu. Aliyu is a great person to work with. Suleiman, go ahead. Suleiman and then Pierre, and then we'll end the session. Go ahead, Suleiman. Okay, Suleiman's still muted. Pierre, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'd like to know what we are going to do on Thursday, the 25th of this month, November. So are you going to write a resume or a CV, and I don't know if you will send it in this group or you will have a kind of session like this.
So you will write your own. Okay, not in
Yes.
group. So you will write your own. You choose if it's a CV or a resume, and so you will bring the draft just of your work experience.
Okay, where will we put it, in the group, or we will have a session
Yes,
like
you
this?
will work in a group. They will, or you will work with a partner, and they will give you feedback.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, last person, Janet.
Pleasure. A pleasure, really.
Your pleasure, yes. Janet, I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me.
Janet, I'm so sorry. Okay, I can't hear you. Could you, what you can do is in the WhatsApp group, could you type your question or your comment? Because I can't hear you. All right. Okay, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful break evening. Thank you all. Take care, stay safe. I'll be sending the recording soon and all the documents in a moment. All right. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you
very much.
Bye bye.
You did a great
Yeah,
job.
cheer
Bye.
up. Cheer up.
My
Cheer up.
pleasure.